the new year, not really new us.
Yeah, it's the
Well,
same.
you know, I don't know. It's the best BGG.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph, and yes, it's time once again to talk everything Board Game Geek, baby. This is going to be the bit of Board Game Geek news, some awesome stuff that we saw going on Board Game Geek this month, the hottest games of the month, what everyone is talking about, and more. So let's go let's go hotly into the news. Alrighty, some Board Game Geek news. We have a store update. There's a lot of cool stuff in the store. There's some reprints of some bits, including the base game for Quacks. We got some Pulsar 2849 bits coming. Some really cool stuff. I love the Geek Up bits. They're always really, really cool. We have some top shelf tokens. There's a couple shirts, including an awesome Our Fan Plays Games Voices shirt. Our Fan Plays Games is awesome. They're a part of BGG as well. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff. Just some reprints and just general cool stuff on the BGG store. So make sure to check that out if you haven't already. And let's get the next piece of news. Happy birthday, Board Game Geek, which just turned 24 years old, because we're that far away from the year 2000, and that's gonna freak me out if I think about it too much, so I won't do it. But Board Game Geek has officially been around for almost a quarter of a century, which is amazing. That blows my mind to think that, you know, Board Game Geek really was here to help usher in this wave of modern board games and how popular this industry and hobby has grown. And I genuinely think we couldn't do it without Board Game Geek. I promise me, they're not paying me to say that part. That part's just me. It's just something that I think is just really cool. So the simple bit of news is just wish happy birthday to Board Game Geek. This incredible resource, I think, keeps everything moving. There's information about upcoming games, about games that have come out, small games, big games. Board Game Geek does not, push anyone away. They want this to be this open resource for everyone to use. And so just a reminder, wish them a happy birthday. Support them yearly and monthly if you can, because this site is free for everyone to use. But there's a lot of people doing a lot of really hard work behind the scenes to make sure this site is available. And we use it literally every single day of our life. We're very grateful for it. So that was a little bit of Board Game Geek news. And let's get down to the table. Let's talk about the hottest games of the month. All right, so it's time to get in the 10 hottest games of the month, Mikey. Hit it.
All right, number 10 is going to be a game called the Plum Island Horror. This is by GMT Games, make like a lot of big war games.
Yes.
And this is a 1 to 4 player cooperative game where there's all these horrors coming into Plum Island. You have to evacuate the city, and you're all playing like different factions, essentially different people around the town, like I was gonna say the punks.
Yeah,
I don't know
kind of. It might be basically these different groups, and you have different attributes and stuff. So kind of like a war game where you're approaching it with a certain skill set.
But it's a tower defense game ultimately
to kind of do tower defense and evacuate the city. So I like the idea of flipping it around to a cooperative, but still having a lot of those elements that you might expect from a GMT. Game.
And this is games like this sometimes where it's not always just like straight war games, but it's fascinating. It really looks cool.
Yeah, the pulpy style seems really fun.
It's got a real pulpy cover. It seems cool. I love the idea of like you're trying to evacuate. I always enjoy the concept of tower defense games. I don't feel like there's not enough tower defense games, to be completely honest. There's only been a couple
for board games.
Yeah, and so I really, really like it. So yeah, I'm actually really excited about Plum Island Horror. I would love to try it out because it's like GMT games aren't generally our kinds of games. But this one looks pretty kind of cool.
I know, it might be kind of like big and chunky too, like a lot of really great stuff to munch on. But again, working together, I think it'll be just really fun to explore like the synergies between the types of factions you select and how can you kind of use them to the best of their ability. So that's the Plum Island Horror. Love the name, love the style. Let's get to number 9.
Number 9 is Ark Nova. It's here most months. It's Ark Nova. People still loving it. People still playing it. It's number 4 in the BG overall. It'll probably climb up even higher than that, let's be completely honest. And yeah, we recently played it again with the Marine World expansion.
Yep, it's great.
And yeah, it's still really, really good. People are playing it like crazy on BGA. The Reworld expansion's really, really fun, and this is just a game that's it's gonna be one of those Terraforming Mars that's just kind of like always hot, people are always playing it, people are always talking about it.
Yep, that card play, the build up that happens throughout the game is just satisfying every time. You know, how you sequence those action cards and stuff and try to get them to the best strength possible and be efficient in that manner. It just keeps the interest level high in this one. So we've been kind of replaying it
Still
even more.
Yeah. Still loving it. It's Ark Nova. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
Number 8 is Earthborne Rangers.
Our friend Jeff is really into this game, and he kind of got us interested in it.
Yeah, so this is a kind of a story-led narrative game where you are a ranger in the spending days in the valley, and as you do this, you're kind of going through these decks of cards and presenting yourself with story and decisions and skills to build up and things like that, and you kind of branch off into different narratives as you go, and it seems like really kind of wonderful in the open.
Yeah.
Do what you want, go in the directions that seem interesting to you way, and it's
got like a cool environmental theme to it, which is like a lot of games kind of are kind of going this direction, which is really, really cool. And if I remember correctly, I think it's made pretty sustainably as well. I think that was part of the campaign for it. And I think it's at this point, I think it's back on Kickstarter now.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of the excitement's kind of popped back up and stuff. I know a lot of people have been playing, who got on the first wave. But yeah, it seems like really cool. Like if you like those kind of just make the story your own kind of games,
totally.
Go in the directions that you want. And really games that reward the exploration and taking your time with it. These are games that I'm like always so interested in. I don't think I personally have the time to do them, but I want to try, find a way to give these a go because I think they're super fun just to kind of sit there with your character and build things up over time and kind of take ownership over the thing that you've created. So Earthborne Rangers seems to do a good job of that.
Sure does. And so that's Earthborne Rangers number 8. Let's get number 7. Number 7, we talked about it a couple times. I'm always curious about, and this is Hegemony. Lead your class to victory.
I'm calling it, man. I think it's going to happen.
I think we're going to like it.
This year.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure it'll happen at some point this year somehow.
I got a feeling.
Hegemony is a game where you are trying to lead your class to victory. These are like people classes,
like the working class,
the capitalist class, the middle class, kind of things like that, and the state. And so you are one of those 4 factions. And you are basically trying to push your class forward the most. And then all the different factions are different because they are different places in the world. The working class is the poorer class, the middle class is the middle, the capitalist class has a ton of money, and the state is kind of trying to run everything and stuff like that.
Keep it all balanced, probably.
And and they all have advantages and disadvantages. You're basically trying to do the best you can with your class and stuff like that. It's really, really interesting. And I know they work with tons of like economists and stuff to really make it accurate and things like that, and people have talked about like how accurate the game is to how like societies and governments and stuff work. It just seems cool. It's this big sprawling game. It's super deep, super heavy. Yeah. I am very curious about the game. It's like I just want to try it at least once.
Yeah, the thing we always talk about is like, is this gonna be too close to home? But maybe it'll be a good way to explore that.
It's tough being the working class.
Gain a greater understanding of some of the toils that a lot of people have to deal with. So. It's one that people have been really, it's gotten very high marks.
It was a lot of people's favorite game last year.
Yeah.
Like I know it was Amy and Maggie's favorite game last year. There's a lot of people, this was like their favorite game.
So that's got us very excited to personally try it. I just want to see what we even do in that game.
Right? So that's Hegemony. Lead your class to victory number 7. Let's get number 6.
They're kittens in space. This is MLEM, Space Agency. It's the, MLEM, the little cat's licking sound. This is a Reiner Knizia game where you are, cat astronauts. Your cats have taken over Earth, and now they are setting their sights on the skies. And you're going basically on these missions, these expeditions, as you kind of go down the cosmic mat, it's called. And you are, wherever you are, you're going to roll dice as long as you have dice to roll. And if you roll any ones that, based on the space you're on, are legal to use for movement, you can propel yourself even further. And then you can stop off at moons and planets and decide whether or not you want your cat to depart. If you go onto a moon, you'll get some points. If you go onto a planet, at the end game, whoever has the most kittens on that planet gets to score first place points and things like that. So there's a little bit of like pushing your luck, and if you're the commander, you're the one deciding, do we keep going, do we stop? But every time we stop, if I'm like, I think this has gone too far, I'm gonna hop out, or do I believe in your ability to roll successes on your dice, I'm gonna stay in the rocket, and if it crashes, that kind of times out the game. as well. And there's like cats have little abilities and things you can do. And so it's just kind of really cutesy theme. We covered this one for BoardGameGeek, and the planets are like, you know, like one's a yarn ball and stuff. So it's all immersed
cat-themed,
and it's cat theme. And the cats, again, have those like little abilities that might help you mitigate how this current expedition goes. And like a lot of Reiner Knizia games, it's very simple, like rules-wise. There's not a ton to remember and worry about, but there's levels of decision space that you wouldn't necessarily expect right away. And it's all cats in space, so that's pretty great theme as well.
Kittens in space!
Yeah, so that's MLEM Space Agency at number 6. Let's hop into number 5.
Number 5 is Bloodstone. This is by Martin Wallace. This was on a Game Found last year, I think, or something like that. Basically, this is a kind of a war game, but a fantasy war game, essentially, is what it is. But it's got some one that's nice because, you know, war games have those classic like tiles that are generally have very little art on them, but these ones are actually nice acrylic tiles, which look really, really nice.
Acrylic domino pieces and things, and you're using them to go out on the map and sort of as your currency as well.
Yeah, you're playing like one of the, I think there's like 6 fantasy races that you can play. They're all going to be different. They're having
dragon
different
riders and hill folk and whatnot.
And so, it's like area majority. You're kind of like a war game, and then you can put your tiles out on the board, and then there are units, but the tiles that are in your hand can be used to move units, can be used to pay for stuff, for buildings and stuff. So it's kind of nice that they seem to have kind of multi-use with it. We haven't played it obviously, but it seems like there's probably that good choice of like, ooh, do I want to play this as a unit, or do I want to keep it back to pay for something else or to do something else with it? And that decision space in board games is always really, really nice and juicy.
Creates some nice tension.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I love multi-use cards so much, because it's just like, ooh, do I want to use this card for this or for this? And like, oh, that decision is always so nice.
You got to pay cards to play cards, you know.
This game has got a little bit of that going on, which is cool, you know.
Yeah, it's got a nice. Again, those acrylic bits are kind of a nice upgrade from what would maybe in the past just be a standard cardboard tile. Bloodstones. Martin Wallace always makes a splash with their designs, and this seems no different. So that is Bloodstones at number 5.
Number 4 is Dune, War for Arrakis. I believe this is hitting people's hands right now, and a lot of people are playing it. This is a game by CMON about Dune, obviously, but it's made by the people who made War of the Ring, by the same designers. And so War of the Ring, I think, is like number 9 on BGG overall. Like, we love War of the Ring. It's Lord of the Rings in a box. And so when people found out that there's going to be a Dune game, where, you know, you're kind of, I believe it's still 2 different teams, like the Harkins and then, you know, like the Fremen and stuff like that. And you're fighting and all this. I was like, ooh, but with the War of the Ring people making it, like that could be insanely good. And I've heard it's actually pretty darn fun. Yeah,
Dune is a good setting for this kind of game because like it is about these like very powerful, you know.
Chin is so sharp.
Yeah, exactly. So you're trying to like, you know, it's all this war for Arrakis literally. So it seems smart to use that as a setting for a game like this. And having the designers behind War of the Ring is a smart move because they proved they could do it before. Dune's a rich world to kind of do it again.
Yeah, and I know CMON with this one, for a CMON in game, and they were even saying this during the Kickstarter, like it's not as massive as a lot of them with all these crazy stretch goals and minis. It's like they're like, this one's gonna be a little more contained and stuff like that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so I really want to play this game.
Me too. This is high on our when we first heard this announced, we were like, man, you're saying some stuff I'm interested in for sure, because we love War of the Rings so much, and Dune has been a world that we've been very interested in as well. So that's Dune, War for Arrakis. If you have it out there, if you played it, let us know if we should try it.
Yeah. Number 3, if you search right now when this comes out by hot images over in the image tab,
it's everywhere.
Night is, I think, like the top 50 images. Granted, to be fair, I really like the way this game looks too.
It's got a good look to it. Yeah.
Beautiful watercolor art. But I was just like, what is this game? Like, every image is like all about night because it looks so good. But this is a roll and write
flip and fill, yeah.
A flip and fill
game.
That's actually a print and play. It's on Kickstarter at the moment of recording this, but it's actually a print and play. So I think it's like $5, and then the all-in is $10. The all-in gives you some solo scenarios as well. But yeah, it's like you in this game are taking on the role of like a knight, and I think all the knights are different. And then you're doing. It's compared a lot to Hadrian's Wall. I believe the designer was literally said like, this is kind of like my take on Hadrian's Wall, or like I wanted to take Hadrian's Wall further. Or whatever. It's very it's very kind of in that same realm of Hadrian's Wall, which is a great kind of bigger roll and write game.
Absolutely, yeah. So this one, you're basically taking your knight and you're trying to improve your station in life. You're trying to get it and get influence with the lords
Local
and
people,
stuff and the locals and things like that, and upgrade your abilities. And so I like the idea of kind of like focusing on like a singular character and trying to take like this character as far as you can, using, you know, lots of flip and fill combo mechanisms. I'm sure where you're sort of, it looks like filling out these tracks as best you can.
To big old sheets with a bunch of stuff on it, so it looks like it's got a lot going on. And then again, there's solo stuff, and I think there's even like a solo campaign, so it looks like it's also very
different
geared
scenarios at least
towards solo players as well, which is very cool. So Knight, it's got a great look. It's all over the place. I'm very, very excited to try this one out. And it's print and play, so it's very accessible too, which is very nice.
Yeah. I love that. I think it's such a smart idea. So get you some of that. $10. We're back. I'm gonna back it right now. I'm gonna back it
That's Knight
now. And backed. Okay. Boom. Number 2 is Triumph. This is surprisingly not about the insult comic dog, but it's about trying to be
Couldn't
the
get
next,
the IP, you know?
Yeah, trying to be the next Caesar though. You're in Rome in the heyday, and you are you know, playing cards and stuff which represent kind of your family and your wealth and influence.
You're basically trying to make Rome, like, instead of being like a relatively small town, you're trying to make it into Rome as we know it.
The Rome as we think about it every day.
But yeah, it's got this really cool mosaic board, kind of like the game Mosaic, which also had the but so the board's really, really pretty.
Really pretty.
But yeah, you have this card that kind of represents like your family and the kind of stuff that they can do. You're like bidding, I believe, with the cards to try and get like certain offices, just trying to improve your station.
Yeah.
You know, of course, it's Rome, so you can go like to war with certain people and all this different kind of stuff. And you're basically just trying to build Rome up and try to essentially be the next Caesar. So you can like constantly kick people out of stuff. There's area majority. It's one of those kinds of games, but it does have a cool look, and I do really like the mosaic look to it, and people seem to be very, very into this game.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as it popped up, it seemed to have kind of like lived on the hotness ever since and stuff. I think it, you know, Rome is a classic board game theme. But going into like building it up and everything, I think is kind of a cool, you know, something we don't see quite as often. We usually see like Rome at the height of its power.
Yeah,
you're trying to get it to that height of power.
Yeah.
And be the one who did it, the leader, you know?
Indeed. So that is Triumph number 2. Let's get to number 1. You probably know what it is.
It's Wormspan. Get it? Because it's, you know, So My Games talked about anything. So it's number 1 in the hotness, baby.
Mike, we're in the same shirt.
Yeah, baby.
We're in the same shirt.
We're game night all night. Game night every night.
night.
Wormspan is a follow-up
to Wingspan.
To Wingspan. It is a game with similar mechanisms, but with a lot of changes from the original Wingspan, with the designer from Apiary taking over, with Elizabeth Hargrave, you know, kind of counseling and helping develop. So this time you are trying to attract dragons into your caves. You have to kind of build out caves as you go, and then hopefully attract dragons to your.
And then you have like an explorer that kind of goes down the line. Yeah. And it seems it's based in Wingspan, but it's done by Connie Volgman, who did Apiary, and then kind of developed by Elizabeth Hargrave, who's kind of producing it, you know, from a movie standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one that seems to provide a decent amount of you know, familiarity, of course, but a lot of kind of new things to chew on. So yeah, it's not just simply an art reskin of Wingspan.
But it's still got that Wingspan hype, baby.
Oh yeah, baby. Well, it's got beautiful art. Looks really cool.
Yeah, the art is
are rad. Man. It's one that I really want to try personally because we do love Wingspan.
I do like Wingspan a lot.
Yeah, so Wormspan, of course, Stonemaier does know how to make a splash with their announcements and things. And
I mean, this is one, I don't think anyone saw this one coming.
My first thought literally was just like, it's not April, so this isn't a joke, but like, I just, you know, that's the cool thing. Stonemaier does that where they're like, they've been working on something for a long time and it gets announced, but I was just like, is this real? And I'm like, I don't think it would be a joke, and it's very real. So there you go. That's Wormspan, number 1.
Indeed. So that is number 1. That's the hottest games of the month. At the end, we always talk about the most played games of the month because you can log your plays on BGG.
You should.
Make sure you do, because then it can manipulate this list. So the 10 most played games of the month. Number 10 is Codenames, which I don't think has ever really been on the list before.
I don't think I've seen
that.
Which
had 984 logged plays.
That's
I was
awesome.
just like, let's go. I love
Codenames. Right on. Next up is Heat Pedal to the Metal at 1,033
You've been playing that on BGG.
I've contributed a few of those. Yes.
Ticket to Ride Legacy, Legends of the West had 1,116. People are still going through that one.
Jealous. Forest Shuffle is next at 1,100 140, I should say.
That's that BGA line.
I've also
right
contributed several plays to that.
Sea Salt and Paper has 1,336 plays.
Contributed a couple to that. Next is Cascadia at 1,531.
Yeah, not too bad
for itself.
We have Azul has a 1,745.
Very nice. You got Wingspan, of course, always around at 1,774.
Indeed, and then Turing Machine up here really, really high.
I love it.
That's great with 1,817.
All right, then we got Arc Nova at 2,227. Almost 2 2s across the board.
Okay, real quick. What happened to Marvel Champions? It is 13?
It's fine. It's gonna be Nick. It's gonna be right back.
Marvel Champions is always number 2.
Codenames has had a month and it's shaken up everything else.
Let's go.
It's January. It's the dark
Marvel
days of
Champions
winter,
players, log those plays.
It's the dark days of winter.
Well, dang. All right, y'all. That is the 10 hottest games of the month, 10 most played games of the month. Let's pop up. Let's go over some Murph picks.
My Murph pick is looking ahead to the year that we have in gaming in 2024. It's the Spiele, Messe, FIJ, and Gamma game preview. Basically, these upcoming conventions, which sort of a lot of publishers will announce what they have coming out this year, what they're focusing on, what releases are going to be happening, are going to be going on. And so Eric Martin does a list for many of the conventions throughout the year and gives a kind of game preview where publishers can populate a list with what games they're going to have available for demo, for sale, or whatever it might be at all of these different conventions throughout the year. And being at the very beginning of the year, this is kind of a great opportunity to like look at what's coming up. What do we have to look forward to this year? Because I'm still just barely getting my feet beneath me in the year 2024. And so it's nice to kind of see like what we might be able to get excited about. So it's right there at the top of the Board Game Geek page. You can find that preview. And again, for Gen Con, Essen, many things throughout the year, there will be these game previews. So it's always fun to go through and kind of take a look, thumb up things that are interesting, maybe bookmark something for later to kind of circle back around on and check out. So it's just got me excited for the year gaming we have ahead.
Alrighty, my Murph pick is going to be this Dominion 3D printed Calyx shell things by Lucas Shepard. I feel like every other month I'm talking about a cool 3D printed thing I saw on BGG, but I love 3D printing. Our 3D printer broke, unfortunately, so we don't have one. So I think I'm maybe seeking out 3D printed stuff as a way to cope with that, because I really enjoyed making cool stuff, and I love how ingenious a lot of these things are. So Lucas made an Dominion organizer that fits into a Calyx shelf. So there's all these different, essentially trays, these kind of little drawers almost, that have Dominion, the base game. They seemingly have all the expansions, like the Seaside expansion and Alchemy and Intrigue and things like that. And you can kind of pull out whatever you want. I think it's so cool that it fits into a little Calyx shelf. And Lucas was even saying that this is like their first foray into 3D printing. And I'm like, man, this is your first project you did 3D printing. 1, bold. 2, keep doing it, because you obviously are very good at this. And so I thought it was so cool. I love 3D printing. I love that, to be into 3D printing, you kind of have to be a geek. To be into board games, you kind of have to be a geek. And so that Venn diagram is basically a circle a lot of times. And I love the ingenuity of what people do with their 3D printers to enhance board games. And I think this is so cool. Such a cool way to organize your Dominion, considering there's so much of it. I just think it's awesome. All right, so those are some Murph picks. At the very end of the video, we always talk about our personal favorite game that we played this month. Down in the comments below, let us know your favorite game that you played this month. Mike, would you start us off?
Okay, so I'm going with a game that it's almost 4 years to the day since I played last, and this is Res Arcana.
Wow, 4 years, huh?
So Res Arcana is a game you can play it on Board Game Arena, which is how I've been playing it this month, where you're basically gonna get just a small handful of cards. And with that handful of cards, you're going to try to build up an engine and get to 10 points first.
Yep.
And so it's kind of all about how do I make this particular set of cards function well? I do not know how to do that and make points. I've never won this game ever in my life. I don't think I ever will win this game in my life. And in fact, way back when, I stopped playing Res Arcana because I was so bad at it.
Yeah.
And it's been fun to play game after game, and I'm losing every time to Jeff from Foster the Meeple. But it's giving me the opportunity to finally see the cards enough times I start to get a better understanding of how to make something happen with them, and it's actually been really fun to explore that. So this is kind of a I'm glad I gave this game another shot.
Yeah.
It took 4 years for me to like be ready to give it another shot, but I've actually been really enjoying myself. I am no better at it though. I cannot stress enough how bad at that game I am, but I have been having a lot of fun. So Res Arcana is my January game.
That's awesome. That's awesome. My favorite game of the month, I want to say is Kutna Aura. I played Kutna Aura twice, actually. Twice in, I guess, 2 days. We didn't play it twice in 1 day, but it was close. I played with our friend Nate, and I really like Kutna Aura a lot. It's a game by CGE, and this is a game where you're building up the city of Kutna Aura, the city of silver. And one thing I like about this game is that there are a bunch of different goods in the game. There's like beer, wood, bricks, things like that. All these different goods, but everything is just money. So, because it's the city of silver, so everything is just money. So if you want to say you need to build this building that's say 3 wood, well then you basically just have to look at what the exchange rate for wood is.
What's the current market rate for wood?
So wood market rate is say 4. That means I have to pay $12. You never actually get any of these goods. Everything is just you paying money. And I actually think that's it's just a nice manageable way because you don't have to have all these bits everywhere.
It's pretty economical, yeah.
But it's just kind of a cool way to do it. And then if you buy stuff, a lot of times the market price will then go up because the demand is higher. But then if you build these buildings, a lot of times you're building like a lumber mill. You then are supplying the world, so then a lot of times the market price will go down. So at the game, the marketplace is fluctuating, and it's just interesting. I like the concept of just like, oh no, everything's just money. You just pay money constantly. You're just always paying whatever the market rate is for that thing, and it's just really, really cool. The game is just super fun. It's got kind of multi-use cards. I don't know. I really, really like Kutna Aura, and I want to pick it up next time we see it in the store.
Yeah, it does a lot of.
I really like it.
It does a lot of really interesting things for sure. I think that's a great pick.
It's
so
good.
Those are our picks, everybody. Let's know in the comments what your favorite game that you played this month was. What's the game from the hotness or not on the hotness that you think has been really neat?
Yeah.
Get those in the comments below so we can keep this discussion going right here on The Geek.
Indeed. And that's going to be it for us, y'all. Hope you had a great start to your year, and we'll see you next month. My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We're the Brothers Murph. We'll see you later, everybody.
Bye.